I think just the NCAA, they did so many things wrong for so many years, and they made so much money off of everything. I mean, like take like Reggie Bush, for instance. Okay, so Reggie Bush asked if he could have his Heisman Trophy reinstated, like given back, because they took it away from him. And, he's kind of wishing maybe this rule was made back then so he would still have his award. And, like, did the NCAA really expect us to believe that, like, the Fab Five didn't make the Final Four in 1992 because they took down a stupid banner? Like, we saw that happen. So all the things that they put in to penalize these schools, meanwhile, how corrupt were they with all the things that they've done and made money hand over fist from these athletes? It's a joke. And they created if it's going to be a problem, they created it because they didn't get on top of it. And they didn't put away something that could make sense and have organization to it. Now it's kind of going to be like the old West until, that gets out of hand. And then the conferences might have to individually address it. So I don't feel bad for the NCAA.
Going back to the comments, Carl said he only knows Bama players. Well, he did just name Elijah Moore, Carl. That's not a Bama player. Dodged the Arkansas question and mentioned Bama players. He also mentioned your Fab Five, Michigan Fab Five, Carl.
I didn't neglect the Arkansas question. I said Arkansas is going to be good this year.
Yeah. Mark will only mention Bryce Young. Actually, I mentioned Bryce Young first. Snug said it's like video games. If you stand on the Alabama field, your injuries actually heal faster. Nick Saban had it installed a few years ago. Carl says, what? Nobody is going to transfer to ride the bench, Mark. That is ass backwards.
No, it's not. That's a stupid comment. Yes, they will. Because they want to win a national championship. And they're going to be drafted anyway, most likely, if they're good.
Mm-hmm. Slug says, I can't wait for the Heisman winner this year to hold up the trophy in one hand and a can of Pringles in the other. Well, what flavor of Pringles are we going for here, Snug? Makes a difference. So, also, staying with the college stuff, the rumors with this new super conference or the 4 conferences, too. What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, look, I mean, if they do join the SEC, which they most likely will, then you're going to have Alabama and Auburn going to the East. And right now, there is such a tilt where the West has owned the East. I think they're 89-52 against them since 2012, since Missouri and Texas A&M joined the conference. That's helped because Alabama's I think they're 32-0 when you throw in all the bowls and everything against the East. And if you put Alabama in the East all of a sudden and Auburn, that all becomes a little more balanced as far as East against West. Because really the West has been the better of the two divisions.
Right.
So I think that would make it interesting in itself. And the Big 12, I mean, outside of Oklahoma, what has the Big 12 done? I mean, they got totally embarrassed Oklahoma by LSU a couple of years ago. So it's not like they're putting out these great performances when they make the playoff. And the Pac-12, which is another conference which has a great history but hasn't really done much lately, I could see that whatever's left in the Big 12 after they leave, after Oklahoma and Texas leave, I could see them joining with the Pac-12 because that's essentially what you're going to do now is have a couple, like maybe 3 or 4 conferences that are just huge with 16 teams because that'll make the most money, and it all comes down to money.
Yes, I've heard that scenario before. That's definitely possible. Snug says, barbecue all day, best Pringles ever. Carl asks you, Mark, name a quality player who transferred to ride the bench.
Well, check the guy on Tennessee, the linebacker for Tennessee, Tuoto. He came to Alabama. Why? He could have stayed at Tennessee and been fine. He's coming to Alabama where they have more linebackers than they know what to do with.
Yeah, right.
So right there. Sorry I had to blow apart your stupid comment.
We got a Snuggy Wuggy. It's Errol time, Carl Baby in the comment section. I'm guessing that's Errol, but I'm not sure. Yeah, it must be him. Is Tyler alive? He asks. Snug says, well, if you are a starter who doesn't want to rid themselves of endorsements and fame in order to ride the bench of a better team, makes perfect sense. And Carl says Tyler has to talk to 25 minutes.
Yeah, why, Tyler? Come on.
I'm just letting you guys. College football to me deserves no respect at all. So
all right, Tyler, what do you want to talk about?
No, you guys can talk. I'm by all means, go ahead. I'm a fan of the thing.
It is Errol, apparently. Carl says his scream just on a loop. Well, Carl, you complain when he talks too much, then you complain when he doesn't talk enough. Which one is it going to be? What's up, Marky? Errol says hi in the comments section.
Oh yeah, tell him I missed you guys, man.
Yes, indeed. So, also again with the college football playoff expansion as well. 12 teams is the latest rumor. Is that something that you would want to? Is that something that you would want to see, or you think more teams, less teams for that?
No, I think it's fine. I think there needs to be more teams. I mean, like Division II had it for all those years with 16 teams. Maybe that's a little too much, but it takes away the fact that if, say, for instance, you have Georgia and Clemson playing in week 1, all right? Normally that might be okay. You lose, that will put you on kind of the defensive, where maybe you have to now worry if you lose another game that your whole season's ruined. Now it doesn't matter, right? If you're Georgia or Clemson and you lose that first game, you still got plenty of time to recover. Especially considering it's not a conference game.
Mm-hmm. Errol saying, he got caught up in his flights tonight. He got caught up in his flight, got canceled. Oh. And of course, comments I took a dump on Tyler. Face LMAO.
you guys still get along real well.
Yeah, well, of course. Errol has to, even when he came on yesterday, he has to throw some jabs in there too. No, Errol. My mother is not with you. So nice try. Nice try there. Maybe Mrs. Ehlers is with you, but not mine.
Oh wow. Well, that's uncomfortable.
No, he's used.
And this is gonna be a very awkward hour left.
Slug says, "Why do we waste our time with a college football when we could just have Bama play a split squad game? That way, we could have the true national champion."
These guys love it. It's jealousy.
Carl says, "2 is transferring to a better coaching staff and a proven draft stock builder program in Bama. Nothing to do with riding the bench."
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay.
No, Snug. That is not going to happen. That is never going to happen. So, what are some of the NFL impressions with training camp so far, and also some of these trade rumors? What are your thoughts with that?
Well, I mean, give me an example. I'll tell you.
So far, we've heard with DeShaun Watson going to the Eagles possibly as being a big rumor. Now it kind of died down. Now the Texans are kind of trolling him at training camp, making him play defensive back and stuff like that. Yeah. Are they trying to be petty? You think they're hoping he can play again?
But DeShaun Watson is stupid. I mean, if that's what he wanted, there were a million other ways to get that other than massage therapists, which ruined their reputation and his. So that didn't make any sense to me, but he's a good quarterback. I mean, you look at his numbers; he had a great year last year. So if he's not playing quarterback, I don't know why they would even want him on their team. So, right. But if he went to Philadelphia, I mean, that'd be pretty good for Philly. I don't know if Jalen Hurts is ready or even good enough to be the mainstay over there. He certainly didn't show enough.
Even if he is, he's not Watson.
What's that?
Jalen Hurts will not be Deshaun Watson.
No, absolutely not.
So then, if I'm Philly, I'm not even paying attention to that.
If they can get him in trade, yeah, they should.
Ben also says Jacksonville just traded Joe Schobert to the Steelers.
Oh wow.
Maybe
that's a dumb trade.
How do you think the Steelers are going to do?
Average. I don't think they're going to be a playoff team this year.
Big Ben's
getting old. You think Cincinnati's better?
Yeah, I like what Cincinnati's got.
Or do you think the Steelers will be like that bad? Whereas
it's a combination of both.
No. Cincinnati still.
Yeah, because I know
Sherbert to Pittsburgh though is a huge help. That makes no sense for Jacksonville at all. He's a leader of the locker room too. What the hell is that?
Ben says 5 years, $53.75 million, I guess referring to the contract for Schobert that he signed. Yeah,
so what?
I guess as well, maybe the Devin Bush injury last year is a lot more serious than we thought, too, and he might not be able to come back this year, or maybe not come back the same, too. And they needed a lot of defensive depth as it was, because the Steelers were they had good up front. They have TJ Watt, who's great, but they were
undefeated last year for like 12 weeks.
I know, but
then they lost to some really bad teams at the end of the year.
Oh, they were the best team in football for 8 weeks, and then they were the worst team in football the rest of the year. But it really is just sad how people are ignoring the fact that our offensive line is a rubber band and finger clip away from being bad. And Big Ben is literally he's not even on his last legs. He's where Peyton was when the defense carried Peyton to a Super Bowl. That Steelers team is going to be god-awful this year.
I mean, they're in a tough division, too.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Brutal division.
Cleveland's
a top 10 roster in football.
Yeah.
Baltimore is going to win a couple games.
And
then
I think
Cincinnati's going to be close.
The big season for Baltimore. If they don't if they don't win the division and then make noise in the playoffs, I don't know. It's not going to be good for. Jackson's still going to be not going anywhere, but you want to see him kind of take that next step if you're Baltimore.
What step?
Mark, in case you don't know, you're talking to the biggest critic of Lamar Jackson.
He can only get better. He can't get worse.
No, but I'm saying if they want him to be,
if he falls down, he'll be better.
Him to be. Baltimore, would they imagine him to be? He has to do something this year, I think. Otherwise, it's going to be a huge step back.
I'm still waiting to prove him. I'm still waiting for him to prove to me he's a quarterback.
Well, he certainly hasn't done in playoffs.
Playoffs? You want to talk about playoffs? That guy in the playoffs has been exposed every year he's been in the playoffs.
Yeah, you're right.
And everyone swears he's a top 5 quarterback in the league. I don't understand how. He's not even the best quarterback in his own freaking division.
You think Baker's better?
But he did win MVP.
He's honestly not even. He's probably not even second. Behind Baker and Burrow, then you can put Lamar.
Burrow has to get a little more. I like Burrow, but he has to do a little more.
Yeah, you can't put Burrow there yet.
Yeah,
you can't put
Burrow can get there for sure.
Skill-wise, he's already there.
Burrow can get there for sure. We have to see off the injury though, because I like Burrow a lot.
He's got to at least win an MVP, Tyler.
I don't even know if he has to win an MVP. Even just 2 top 10, top 5 seasons in a row, he could even get there. But that's going to be very hard off the injury, and the Bengals' offensive line is not doing much favors for him.
Many favors, no.
for him to get there. Baker, again, he's been good, then he's been bad, then he's been he's a pattern, and he's helped out by a lot of those very talented skill players that we were bringing up yesterday with Chubb, with Hunt, with Jarvis Landry, 2 tight ends, Njoku, even the kid Bryant for them played well last year. They have a lot of talent on that team. So I think a lot of different quarterbacks could end up not necessarily succeeding to win games necessarily in that system, but still could perform at a higher level. If he has another year like that this year and Lamar regresses, maybe then you could argue it, but still, I don't know if I would make that argument quite yet. Baker's kind of above average. I wouldn't call him like that level quite yet.
Better than Lamar Jackson.
Well, you're the only one. Lamar Jackson, probably 18th among your quarterbacks or something.
I don't know.
I agree, he's not a top 5 quarterback, but I think most people have him at least 12 or 13. I don't think people have him 19.
He's around 15.
Okay, all right. That's actually more credit I thought that you were going to give him.
I didn't say he's in the 15, but he's around 15. 16, 17, maybe. I don't know. I haven't really planned it out.
Well, 2 years ago, he was number 32 on your list, so.
Was I wrong? He's not really. He hasn't proven that he can win a game with his arm yet. It's been 3 years. Yeah, he won an MVP. Guess what? That's because the league, gave it to the most exciting player in the league.
Snug says, wasn't the Beavs' mom a starting defensive tackle for Bama in the 70s?
All right,
okay. Carl says, Errol watched the opening to last night's show. Tyler enthralled us all. He couldn't understand why it was hot, and we heard about it for 15 minutes.
It's still very hot in here. It's incredibly hot. I don't know why. Errol's got a sauna in his basement, but that's fun.
Snug says Lamar Jackson is a really good player on Madden.
Player.
Not so sure.
Player.
So sure about real
Quarterback,
life.
no.